Hello, in today's video we are going to add double jump and sliding. But before we do it, let's fix one issue. So let me create some kind of wall here, like 10 and 10, and put it somewhere here. Now let's run the game and you will see what's the issue. So if you run and jump, you see player stuck and it's not moving. So we can fix that by using the materials. So I have already folder materials, and inside I need to create 2D physics materials 2D, and let's call it no friction. So as you may see here, we have two parameters, friction and bounces. And what we need to do is to set friction to 0. If you need your object to bounce, you will increase bounces. So now let's open the player and let's move no friction here and run the game. This time it should slide. So yeah, that looks good. We can delete this. Next, what we are going to do is to add the double jump and sliding. Let's start with the double jump. So we need to introduce new private variable, which will be called can double jump. Can double jump. So by default, it has value as false. And let's find our jump code. Right now, we are doing the jump inside of the handle input, but we are going to add more code to it. So let's move into the separate functions. I'm going to call extract method, and let's call this method jump. So now we have our method jump, and we need to add some conditions here. So first, we are going to move is grounded condition inside of this method. So we are going to jump if is grounded set to true. And let's add another condition, which is else if can double jump. So first it will check if it's grounded, and if it's grounded, it will do the jump. But if we are not grounded, it will check if we can double jump. And if we can double jump, we would jump. But somehow we need to set this to true, because right now it has the value false. So we are going to assign this variable here. So we are doing the jump, and we are setting can double jump is true. So when we click jump for the first time, we this condition return true, so we are grounded, and jump happened. We set can double jump to true, and if we click jump next time, this condition would be false because we're not grounded, but can double jump would return true, and we would do the double jump. But we want to prevent from multiple double jump from happening. So what we are going to do is to assign here can double jump false. Also, we have a small issue here. So in the handle input, we're using get button, but really we need to use get button down, because get button down only check when button is pressed. But if we're using get button, it will continuously check, like return true, uh, until we release the button. And finally, we need to remove condition from here. So just have get button jump, and inside of the jump function, we are checking if we grounded or not. So now let's open the Unity and let's try. I do one jump, second jump, first jump. So double jump is working. I cannot do 3 double jumps, only 2. That's good. Next, what we are going to work on is sliding. This spreadsheet doesn't have any specific animation for sliding, but there is the one of the sprites in the death animation which we can use for it. So let's open our where it is images. We don't have here death animation, so let's import. So here I have downloaded a spreadsheet, and we have the death. So let's move here death, and in the same way we need to configure. So we're using 24 pixel per sprite. no filtering, no compression, and we need to cut them. So let's sell by count and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 column slice and apply. And I'm thinking about using this one. It looks like it's sliding. Now let's create animation for sliding. Let's select player, animation, create new clip, select our folder, assets, animations, clip, and let's call it slide. And just drag this here. So let's play it. So this is how it look like, and we need to make sure that looping is disabled for slide animation. So where is the slide? Loop time. Now let's open Animator and let's configure transition. So we can move to the slide animation from idle or run. So let's move to transitions and let's create new Boolean variable here called is sliding. So when is sliding is true, we are going to uh, change the animation to sliding. But when is sliding is false, we're going to switch back to idle run. And let's remove transition duration and has exit time. So from animator perspective, everything is done. Now let's move to the code. So we need a variable, also private Boolean variable is sliding. And let's set up in animator. So animator set bool is sliding to is sliding. So every time we change the value for this variable, um, we play new animation. And how are we going to enable slide? I'm thinking about clicking the shift button. So let's move here and let's check if shift button is pressed. So input, but this time not get button, but get key down I'm going to use because we are using just one button. And you need to use key code, shift, left shift. So when we are clicking it, we setting is sliding to true. Now let's check if it works as expected. Let's open the Unity. Let's run it. Let's start the game. And yeah, we are sliding. But as you see, there is no exit from the sliding. And we want sliding to be like few seconds duration and with higher speed. So let's do it. We need to introduce a variable called public float slide speed, and we're using for move speed 5 here, so let's use something as 15. And now inside of our movement we are going uh, to move with the higher speed. So we don't have any separate function for movement. Let's create, because we are going to add additional functionality there, and it makes sense to create new function. Let's call it move. So right now it's pretty simple. We are just running, but let's add a condition here. So if we are sliding, we are going to copy this. I think I copied something wrong. Let's copy it one more time. And here we are going to use slide speed. And here we would have else condition. We are moving with the regular speed. So now let's run the Unity and see if it works. So when we are clicking slide, we should move faster. Yeah, as you see, we are moving much faster. So now we need to use the timers to stop sliding after a certain amount of time. So to do it, we need to introduce few additional variables. And I think let's create here another section, header, and let's call it sliding. And let's move this variable here. And we need few variables additional. Some of them need to be exported, so let's use serialized field. And first we need slide duration. Float slide duration. Next, we need slide counter. Slide counter and two additional variables, also serialized field, but I can just copy. So this would be a slide cooldown, and next two, we don't need them to be exportable. So it would be slide duration counter and slide cooldown counter. And we are going to check only after some amount of time we allow like doing doing additional slide, and after certain amount of time we're going to stop slide. So how can we do it? So first we need to start calculating those values. We're going to use time dot delta time in Unity. So how can we do it? So here simply I'm going to use, as editor suggests me, but it suggests mine time dot delta time. So what is time dot delta time? Is the time from the last frame. So using this, we're going to calculate how much time passed from after certain action. But I'm doing so it should be slide cooldown counter like this. So we are updating. So we're starting from the zero, and every time we are going to update the values. So just to see how does it work, let me print. For example, slide duration counter. Let's open Unity. Let's start the game, and in the console you would see that this value constantly decreasing. So it's decreasing, 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 -5, -6. So this will be our count timer, and we are going to use to stop sliding. So now let's move to the code where we are setting is sliding to true. We're also going to extract this to the new function. So show contact action, extract, and let's call this method slide. And here we are going to have condition if slide duration counter less than 0, we are going to enable slide. But it should be not the duration, but it should be cooldown. So only when cooldown is reset, we are going to do slide. And now let's update values for our timers. So I'm going to assign slide duration counter to slide duration and slide duration cooldown counter to slide cooldown. So once we press the shift, we enter the slide and we assign those values dependent on what values we would set in the inspector, and we start decreasing those values. So for example, we click shift, slide cooldown is less than 0, so we enable the sliding, and we are setting this slide cooldown to some value like to 3 or to the 5, depend how much time do you want to wait between sliders. And next slider will be available only after those value is decreased up to the 0. But this not solve our issue with not exiting from the slide. So for now, I'm going to here inside of the update method, just check if slide duration counter less than 0, sliding false. So now let's go to the Unity. Let's assign some values and see how does it work. So we have the player and we have those two parameters, slide duration and slide cooldown. Slide cooldown, I think I'm going to set as to the 1 second, and for example, slide duration is to the half of the second. And so, like, let's review one more time what happened. So we have a value for those timers, and we check if a value of the cooldown is less than 0, we are entering the slide, and we are updating the value of cooldown and duration to these initial values. Then in the update method, we are checking if slide duration is less than 0, because we have it by when we enter the slide is half of the second. And once this value is less than 0, slide is ended. Now let's try to run it. And and you see, I'm doing duration, but I'm doing the slide, but I cannot do multiple. I'm clicking the shift right now multiple time, but I'm not sliding. But we have the problem. Let me duplicate this again. Ground. Let's make it smaller, and let's put it right here. So too big, I think 10, maybe 10. Okay. So now, for example, I can put it right here, and let's run the game. Player is running. I'm entering the slide, but you see it's not moving. And why it's happening? This happening because of the collision. So if I open the player, you see this is the collision. So we're not checking the um, sprite size, but we are checking the collider. And because of even if you move to the sliding, collider is staying the same. So let's go here. Let's select slide. You see, collider is staying the same even if sprite becomes smaller. So what we need to do is to update the collider. Let's stop it, and it's pretty easy to do. So let's start with the idle. So right now I have the idle, and here is the record button. Let's click this record button, and it will start recording our actions in Unity. And what we want to do is to click here, edit collider, and just do like movement and get back, and the same here. And once we did it, it's write those values inside of our animation. So every time when animation will be started, those values for collider would be used. So every time we switch to the idle animation, we will have this collider. Now we need to repeat the same for the slide. Let's play this and let's click review. And what I'm going to do is just make it smaller, something like this. I'm not going to move it right now. We don't need it. Maybe we will do it in the futures. But we did it. We write it. Now let's run the game and let's see if this solve our issue. Let's run. Yeah, and it's sliding. But as you see, we have another problem where player stuck under not stuck, but was trying to run and not continue the slide even if he was under this platform. It's also not hard to solve. We're going to solve this in similar way as we did for checking if the ground. So we have somewhere here is grounded. Now let's do another field here, and let's call is ceiling. So we are going to check if there is the ceiling on the top of the player. And this we can start by on draw gizmos. We can draw it. It would be very similar, but we need to do plus and not the check ground distance, but check ceiling distance. It's red because there is no such variable, so let's introduce it. Let's do it right here. Salaries field, check ceiling distance. And then once we have it, we're going to update the value in the similar way as we have here in our update method. So how we were checking if the ground, so we are casting the ray, but for the ground it was down, but for the ceiling we are just casting this ray up. Now we need some values. So let's start the game. And we need, oh, we don't need to really start the game. Let's just switch to the slide animation. Let's play it. And we need to check. We need to draw this ray. So where do we have it? Check ceiling distance. And let's try to draw it. I think something like this should be fine. What value we have? 0.1. Maybe just to be safe, 0.2. And now it won't solve the issue right now because we are not doing anything. We will still stuck. It's jump. So let's go to the code. And now we have this if ceiling, which is true or false. So now we need to find our method where we are stopping the sliding. And we're not going to stop sliding if there is ceiling on top of us. So we are not only relying on counter, but also on this additional check about ceiling. So let's try it. So we have, let's run, and you see it stopped sliding only after we were out of the platform. But I think we have another problem. Let's make it bigger. 100, no, not 120 maybe. Let's move player somewhere here, and let's try to jump once we are sliding. Let's see how it will work. So I'm sliding, and I'm trying to jump, and something wrong happened. So also we need to not allow jump when we are sliding. We need to find our jump method. And inside of our jump method, we are going to check if sliding. We just go and simply return. So once this condition returns true, we just exit from the method. So this never checked. So once we are sliding, this is not allowed. Or we can do another check because if we want to jump, but we don't want to jump if there is a ceiling, so we can change this is ceiling. It both would work. Let's try. So this will not this will allow to jump when we are sliding, but not only after there is ceiling on top of us. So let's try. So I'm sliding, but I cannot jump, right? But I can jump from the slide if there is no ceiling. It depends, like how do you like it more. I think I would keep it as we have right now to check only if there is the ceiling. And we have those debug statement, which is where do we have them? Let's just clean up to not spam in our terminal. So that's all for today's video. Have a nice day.